Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, it's Andrew Frazier here once again, and excited to be back live streaming with you on Leadership Live at 8:05 every Tuesday evening. And this week, just like every other week, we have a great guest, and we're going to just really chat about small business and some key topics that could be valuable for you as a business owner. Our guest this evening is Dale Caldwell. He's executive director of the Rothman Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, but he's doing all kinds of great things. And, one thing that's always been key to him is learning and education, not only his own, but helping other people learn and helping other people be educated. Hey, Dale, welcome to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business.
Andrew, it's so wonderful to be here with you. I love your show and your podcast. So it's we're gonna have fun tonight.
Excellent. And definitely excited to have you. You're actually, this is our second time having you as a guest. Yes. And I think you're the first person we've had twice. And that must tell us something about how great that it is to have you as a guest. So
I hope it's not because I messed up the first time. I'm back this time to do it right this time. But no, right, I'm excited to be here. Really.
Okay, excellent. And we have a different topic today. Last time we talked about leadership and influence. Dale's the author of the book Strategic Influence, and a great book that is valuable to anyone about how they could be a better leader, which is more and more important for business owners in this day and age. So we talked about, leadership, management, leadership versus management, how you become a better leader. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your education and training and kind of what you've done in your background as far as that.
Well, Andrew, again, I love being on the show because there's so many wonderful things that you learn, and I always learn when I'm with you. And so learning has been a big part of my life. My mom was a school teacher for 50 years. My dad was a civil rights leader who knew and marched with Dr. King, but they valued education. So I had a chance. I got my degree in economics from Princeton, and then got an MBA in finance from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, and then a doctorate from Seton Hall University. But I've learned more since then that this continuous learning, to be a continuous learner, has really been kind of a secret I've found to really help me succeed in a lot of the different areas that I'm in. And so it's wonderful to the show that we have today about learning more faster. So I'm excited to talk some about that. I'm executive director of the FDU Rothman Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and our mission is to promote entrepreneurship with a special focus on family, veteran, and small businesses. So happy to be here.
I've known you. We've known each other for many years.
Yes.
And actually, in business, it's important to build relationships and network. And I still remember where we met. We met on the walk to Washington. And
right.
We weren't walking to Washington, but it's something that the New Jersey State Chamber does every year. They set up a train ride down to Washington, D.C. and back. Great networking, building relationships, and then on the way back, you get a chance to network as well. So you get to meet a lot of great people, and that's where Dale and I met. We connected. We had a chance to talk. I think your book was pretty new then.
Yeah, it was yeah, very, very new. It's been a lot. We've known each other for a long time and done some really, really good things, I think, over time.
To share a little bit about, you've run a school, you've been on some school boards. Talk a little bit about those experiences as well.
Well, Andrew, I intentionally, when I was young, I said I always want to have some senior leadership experience in the private sector in a corporation. So I was a senior manager at Deloitte Consulting for 11 years. In the nonprofit sector, I was the founding executive director of a group called the Newark Alliance with the former governor, Tom Kaine, the former CEO of Prudential Financial, Art Ryan, and a billionaire named Ray Chambers. And so I got to see nonprofit leadership. And then I became deputy commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, which oversees local finance and other things. And Andrew, I'll tell you, in doing those three roles, I really have an understanding of how things work, why they work. And that's one of the reasons I am more excited than ever about entrepreneurship. And we can talk a little later about my entrepreneur zones and why learning is important and other things. But entrepreneurship, I have found, given my experience in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, is the answer for turning around economies, eliminating poverty, and improving the quality of life in communities throughout the world. So that experience has actually led me to this moment. And again, the networking that you do on trains doesn't always pan out, but that walk to Washington on the train to DC, obviously many years later, we're doing some great things.
You never know where your relationships, where your opportunities come from. And but it's important to really make yourself available, connect with people, and not be afraid to meet new people and learn from them and give them an opportunity to learn about who you are. And definitely Dale and I have done a lot of things over the years, and look forward to doing even more great things going forward. And actually, one of those things we're going to tell you a little bit about later on in the show. We're here with Dale Caldwell, and we're talking about strategies for accelerating your growth so that you can learn faster. Especially for business owners in this day and age, it's important to learn everything you can so that you could be more successful. You've learned a lot. You're seeing what's out in the marketplace. How do you keep up with what's going on and be able to kind of understand what directions and how you should move forward?
We are stretched now because there's never enough time. Our phones, our cell phones, our smartphones, our the internet, our programs, our Zoom calls now, we're constantly busy. So we need to find expertise wherever we can find it. And Andrew, one of the things that you have done extraordinarily well is really be an intellectual resource for business leaders, that you have a great way about you in really helping people understand complex things in a very basic way. And so you have been one of the gurus, one of the business gurus who's helped me look at things. But I also do a lot of reading. I listen to podcasts. I watch YouTube videos. And there's a lot of great information out there. But it's important to have it synthesized in one place because you have limited time. And that's what I really want. I'm excited about talking about what we're going to talk about today. But that's what you've done really, really well. You had asked earlier, and so I was head of a school in Trenton. And I've been on a New Brunswick Board of Education for over 20 years, and I had the honor of being the New Jersey School Board Member of the Year in 2009. So I spent a lot of time in education. So I understand how people learn, and I understand how people with different backgrounds, experiences, and education learn. And what I like about the online program you have is that it's great for anybody, and it's something that everyone can tap into, especially when they're running up against a brick wall and they don't know what to do and they don't know who to ask.
Like you mentioned, we're all busy. We all have so many things coming at us. There's a million people telling you they can help you. How do you know who you should learn from, what information you need to know, and how to apply it. So one of the things that challenges people have is time and flexibility of time. And, now there's more flexibility in education and the ways people can take in education. You want to talk a little bit about how you're seeing people do it and how you take information as well.
Well, I've learned over the years, and especially when I was working on my dissertation on my learning style. I find that I am more visual than auditory. Some people, I have a lot of friends that are auditory, so they can listen to podcasts. I like to see things. I like to see numbers. I like to really visualize things. So I watch a lot of videos. And to be very honest, I have a TV show called Family Business World. And so every week I interview different family business leaders, and I interview experts like Andrew and others who advise them. And frankly, Andrew, I get a lot of information out of that. I get a chance to hear from the best and brightest on so I have the privilege of having experts on my show and to ask them any questions I want. And to be honest, that probably is where I've learned the most. Not everybody has that opportunity. Not everybody can pick and choose what guests they have to target areas where they may want to learn or be weak. So I, again, YouTube and talking to, and we have a number of lectures. So, but not everybody is really able to gather the group of information that we do at the FDU Rothman Institute. So that's why what you're doing is so important.
Thanks, Dale. And same here, having a show, meeting and talking to different people about business and other key topics helps to keep you sharp, helps you to learn, and really it also helps the audience to learn. One of the things that I find is, as a business owner, usually during the day, my day disappears just like that.
Right.
But when I go to learn stuff, it's either like really early in the morning or really late at night. And it's great now that you can have, there's more things and more resources to be able to learn when and how it's most effective for you. So, definitely, that's been helpful. But, in this environment, it's a very challenging environment. What do you recommend business owners focus on to, understand how to get through this situation?
It is so important to learn. Now, many businesses have been slowed down or even closed during the pandemic. They've been struggling to figure out, how do I make revenue at a time when there are limitations on my business? So this is the best time to begin to learn and to seek out resources that really will help you understand financial issues. I find a lot of business leaders don't know what they don't know about finance. And so they need to really seek a source. And as I do, I have an MBA in finance from Wharton, but things have changed. I always need to learn how to do things differently. About leadership, about hiring, about some of the regulations that are going around now because of the pandemic. How do you hire people? How do you bring people back? How do you develop people? How do you grow people? These are very, very complex things. So, there are a number of the Harvard Business Review and Forbes and those types of things. You can really look at that. But oftentimes that doesn't speak to the individual entrepreneur on the ground trying to grow their business every day. And so the wonderful programs that you're offering really, and I've heard some great testimonials about people who've really said, I did not know what I didn't know. And so that's the key. And you have to be a constant learner. One of the things that I talk a lot about is the difference between a small business leader and an entrepreneur. And so the small business leader is often satisfied with the status quo. They're not trying to learn more there. But those folks are having trouble. They're struggling. Whereas the entrepreneur is constantly looking for new ways to do things, new information, new ways to learn, new sources of information. And that's what we want everybody to become, is to become an entrepreneur and have that entrepreneurial mindset so that they become lifelong learners.
When there's challenges, there's opportunities. So yes, it's difficult, but there's three ways that as a small business owner that you could be more successful at taking advantage of opportunities. And really, number one, and all these three things you should always be doing, but even more so now. And number one is being proactive. You have to, you can't wait for things to fall in your lap. You have to run your business. It's not, you can't wait for it to run you. You can't wait for your customers to come to you. You have to figure out how you're doing it. So you got to be proactive. You also have to be creative. There's different challenges, there's different needs, there's different wants out there. So how do you satisfy them? Does your customer need what you have more or less now? So understanding that and being creative can give you opportunities. And then finally, being flexible. In this day and age, we're competing with all size businesses. Even if you're small, you are competing with larger businesses. But the advantage you have is you can be more flexible because you can make the decisions. The larger businesses go through a lot of different iterations before they can change and become more flexible. So, as a small business owner, you might not have the money, you might not have the brand or the notoriety, but you can be proactive, you can be creative, and you can be more flexible. And at the end of the day, it's about providing the most value for your customers and solving their problem. And whoever does that the best wins. So as a small business owner, those are some things that are important to be able to do. Now, with that, one of the key things I always talk about is, you can learn everything, but you need to learn the things that you need to know that can help you. So, what are those things? Well, one of the key things right now is learning and understanding trends that are going on, that are affecting your business, your competitors, and other things. Dale, you want to talk a little bit about some of the trends that you're seeing? Because I think that's a key thing for business owners to focus on learning the most about.
I want to first build on proactive, creative, and flexible. One of the things I really love about the way that you work with the more than 500 businesses you've worked with is you really break it down into lists using understandable language to really understand what's going on. And so, the beauty is at the Rothman Institute, we're really at the forefront of some of the issues that are going around, around small businesses, local entrepreneurs. And one of the challenges that we have is that a lot of the people in charge have not understood how important small businesses are to the American economy. That they thought, well, the big businesses, the Fortune 500, they create most jobs, but most jobs are created by leaders just like you watching the show. And so part of that trend is I'm starting to see more and more people paying attention to the importance of entrepreneurship, more and more governors and legislators and Congress folks. They don't know what to do, but they are starting to understand because unemployment has been so high. So they're really starting to say, okay, well, if we're going to reduce unemployment, we've got to make sure that entrepreneurs are successful. So one of the things that's happening is that small business leaders need to begin to pivot. So there's this trend and this term, every year the Merriam-Webster dictionary adds terms. I think in 2021, they're going to add the term pivot because things are changing constantly. You've been closed, you're open, there are vaccines, they're not vaccines, there's a new flu. So you as a business leader have to pivot and go into new areas. And so I know a number of our clients have actually had their best year ever because they switched from their core business to something in which they're creating PPE or other things to help the organization. So you've got to be creative. And there's a trend that those are being creative. You also have to be out there for your customer. What happens is I saw a lot of restaurants when they were first closed who said, okay, we're just going to wait out this pandemic. We're not going to reach out to customers. Where the other restaurants who are entrepreneurs said, we're going to do takeout. We may even lose money on takeout, but we want to stay in the mind's eye of our customers. And the restaurants that did that are starting to, as things are opening up, are doing much better than those that didn't. So you have to really understand your customer. Another trend, Andrew, that's really important is the power of empathy. And so empathy sounds like a soft word. It's a weak word. But empathy is the single most important business skill, because you need to not only understand and empathize with yourself and understand where you come from, you have to empathize with the people that work for you and understand where they come from. And you have to empathize and understand where your customers are coming from. So you're starting to see more and more business leaders try to understand the nuances of their customer base so that they can pivot and target a new customer base. And there's strategies around that.
Yeah, no, I think that's key. And one of the things that I find is, as a business owner, you get stuck in the weeds. You're focused on the day-to-day, maybe the week-to-week. But if you're not watching over the longer term, then who is? So, that's an important time to, you got to take a little bit of time out to plan and strategize. I know you're busy. I know you're tired. I am too, but I do it because I have to do that if I want to grow and create a sustainable business. So one of the things that is important is, what should I be planning? What's the overall goal? And, what is the path I should take? I'm here. How do I get here? And, really talking about, what are the steps you need to take, because there's an order that you need to move your business forward to be successful. Dale, you want to talk a little bit about things that people need to do to move their business forward and how they should think about their next steps in what they're doing?
It's really important to think about your business and almost be a consultant and look at your business. So often we get into this habit, this routine to say that, I was successful yesterday, so I'm going to do things today. So I always say the first thing is to take inventory and look at the business that you're in and really see, does it make sense? Then the next thing is what you want to really understand is really, what are your goals? Where do you, as you were saying, Andrew, where do you want to be? If we don't have an understanding and real goals, we'll never reach them. And you need some big audacious goals, as they say, some goals that may be a step unrealistic. You need some achievable goals as well. And I like 3 goals and goals in between. And so once you look at your business, you set those realistic goals, you can begin to develop the process of moving towards those goals. And that process means understanding some of the key elements of your business, understanding inventory, understanding your employee base, understanding, as I said before, your customers. And so you begin to really think about those steps. And I love the way, Andrew, that you talk about the difference between working in your business and then on your business. And, you often talk about it. We'll talk a little later about the startup to scaling. And there's a process that you go through that you are really much more expertise at talking about than I am. But there is a structured process that businesses can go through. It's customized for each unique business, but it's really, really critical that you begin to think about your business in ways that are different than you had certainly in 2019.
Like Dale's right. Pivoting is key. I've got many examples of people who, one of my clients had an in-person school daycare. Well, school for young people. But over one weekend, she changed her whole model from in-person to virtual. Now, they were working really hard over the weekend, but think about that. She was proactive, she was creative, and she was flexible because there was a need, because the parents had to work from home, but they still needed their kids to be learning even though they couldn't be there in person. And what she did was she made it so they could and didn't lose one single customer.
Wow.
And also, they still paid the same amount as when they were in person. because it still solved the need that they had. First, Dale, you want to share a little bit about kind of, how you might approach a business owner who, they're struggling, but they haven't really pivoted and not sure, or kind of stuck and not sure what to do.
Andrew, that happens all the time. And we run across the businesses. I mean, there's a big divide now. I know a number of our clients have had their best year ever because they've pivoted successfully. Others have not been able to pivot. He said they may have been restaurants or retail or other programs, and people are overwhelmed. One of the things that I've said to a number of government officials is that when you close a family business, and we do a lot of work with family businesses, everybody in the family is unemployed. And one of the things that I've done a lot of work with people who are in poverty and other things. And when you don't have money, it's amazing the short-term stress and even trauma that you have that prevents you from thinking logically, prevents you from doing some basic things that you would do if you felt more comfortable. So that's one of the things that I do is I work with them on the emotional side. I created this thing called "What Zone Are You In?" Where are you in the panic zone where you're constantly scared? Are you in the awareness zone that you're struggling and you're trying to get out of it? Or are you in the success zone? And so I actually work with folks to try have a little green chart. We're working with people through that. And you say, what does that have to do with business? That has everything to do with business, because if you aren't in the success zone as an entrepreneur, as a small business leader, you won't be able to think effectively enough to really develop a plan to get out of this. And so what I do is once I get them through that point to say there is hope, there is light at the end of the tunnel, we begin to talk about some of the business fundamentals to really help them begin to think about, okay, well, how do I reach a new customer base? How do I manage my inventory? How do I make the investment? How do I get federal dollars from there or state dollars? And so when you start working with people who are deer in the headlights, you've got to pay attention to their emotional wherewithal.
Definitely. It's important to do that. One of the things I always talk about is the first and foremost is your relationships. Mm-hmm. You have to maintain your relationships first with your clients. Mm-hmm. So are you calling people? Are you reaching out to them on LinkedIn? Are you reaching out to email? Seeing how they are, seeing if they need what you have, seeing if they have different needs, because you have to maintain the relationships with your clients, even if you're not doing business right now, because if not, when it's over, they may not be thinking about you and they may not be your client anymore. So definitely that, building relationships and then thinking about, what can you do virtually? Because there's things that could be done, mostly everything can be done virtually. I've seen, physical trainers take their business virtual. Actually, some of them are like, I'm never going back. Their business is way better virtually than before. And so, I've got a client who has a barber shop. He had to close, but, he was selling merchandise and other stuff online. So, there's things you can do, but it's about being proactive. Nobody's going to give you the answer. You have a brain, you're smart, be creative. What is needed? What can you do? What matches up with your strengths and is trends, and you can do that.
And Andrew, let me add one of the things, because what you said about relationships is so important. And one of the kind of frustrations I've had with small business folks is that they have not valued relationships with their banker, relationships with their council person, with their mayor, with their legislator, with Congress, with the governor's office. And they don't understand, especially now where they need money, they need support, that they have to be proactive. It's not enough just to sit in your restaurant or your store, or your consulting firm and not talk to anybody. And so I really push them. And so my hope is, and you talk about trends, my hope is that more business people realize that they have to be proactive, not only maintaining relationships with customers, which is critical, but maintaining relationships with anybody that has some input or impact on their business.
As a business owner, it can be lonely. but you have the ability to network, connect, build relationships so that you have a team. We talked a little bit before about, what is the path? How do you make it from where you are now to where you want to be in the future? And, there is a certain path that you have to take as a business owner. And one of the things I've done is really did some work putting together what I call the Masterpreneur Playbook, which is a 5-step business growth plan that can take you from startup to scaling. And it can meet you where you are and kind of lays out the path that you need to take and what you need to do along the path so that you can traverse it successfully.
The best sports teams have a proven playbook. Everyone should have one. We've got one for you. Because there are so many things you need to know as a business owner. As a result, it is easy to get confused or stuck, since your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. It is also unnecessarily stressful, risky, and lonely when you're not confident in your decision. Many business owners work longer and harder for less money than if they had a job, because they are on the wrong path.
Break that cycle with the Masterpreneur Playbook, a 5-step business growth plan that addresses the challenges that business owners face going from working in their business to working on their business. Hello, my name is Andrew Frazier, the Business Growth Pro and CFO. I created the Masterpreneur Playbook for you. The Masterpreneur Playbook incorporates proven strategies for successfully growing your business that I discovered during my personal journey as a manager, executive, board member, investor, business coach, consultant, trainer, and small business owner. For example, the Masterpreneur Playbook helped Miani to go from working in her business to working on her business. She learned to analyze her financials, identifying opportunities to improve cash flow and run her business more effectively. She also put together a financing package that got her access to capital. In addition, she developed a strategic plan that got her team fired up and led to her business growing.
I had my first strategic planning meeting with my staff yesterday. I rolled out the plan that Andrew and I had developed. They were fired up. I was fired up. I was like, it's not just me with the mission. There's all of these people. We're all on the same page. Let's go, So I felt really good about that.
Also, the Masterpreneur Playbook helped Paul to go from working on his business to working on the future of his business. Paul was able to restructure his organization, implement new processes and procedures, and create a strong leadership team, giving him the bandwidth to focus on planning for future growth opportunities.
I got to say, I'm glad I trusted you with your plan because I like the plan, but we are, there's no guarantees, and it is a journey, but we're getting there, and we're making real solid progress. And I'm very pleased with where we are right now, where we're positioned, and where we're going.
Is there any reason you wouldn't want to accelerate the growth of your business, make more money, and have more free time? Of course you would. Don't hesitate. Visit www.sbprou.com to download a complimentary copy of the Masterpreneur Playbook today. That's right. For a limited time, you can download a complimentary copy of the Masterpreneur Playbook at www.sbprou.com.
So, Dale, we've covered a lot, and we have some exciting news to share. One of the things that we're partnering on is really laying out certification programs for entrepreneurs and business owners. You want to talk a little bit about why that's important and how that could work?
Andrew, as you know, at the Rothman Institute, we pride ourselves on being the voice of entrepreneurship, and actually not only in New Jersey, but now it's across the country. And one of the things, and we've worked with entrepreneurs of facing just about every problem imaginable, and some very, very successful, some struggling. And we saw that there was a need for, and really a missing link in helping them become successful, and that's this asynchronous training with coaching. So this training where you can do when and how you want to do that. And the training, though, there is other training out there, but the training has to be done in a very, very simple, easy to understand way, an impactful way. And the beauty is, Andrew, you've been working on this for years, and I've seen your progress. And so it really is the perfect time, because we are now reaching out and really playing a critical role as we try to get back the economy to where it was in 2019, which means that small businesses are humming, that there's job creation, and that. But the only way to do that is if small business leaders have the education they need to really turn their businesses around and become successful and survive this pandemic. And so by partnering with you, what we can do now is offer every entrepreneur, no matter where they are, a training program through their FDU Rothman Institute and the SB Pro University. So I'm so excited about that, because that is really the missing link in helping us help businesses help themselves.
So we took a look at the Masterpreneur Playbook. I hope that you download a complimentary copy to take a look and even understand it better, because it lays out the path that your business needs to take. But not only that, as a business owner, for you to be able to move along the path, you have to evolve and you have to develop skills and you have to change. And it lays out how you need to evolve as a business owner. So the path goes from working to develop your business, to working in your business, to working on your business, to working on the future of your business, to scaling your business. So those 5 steps are key. Different business owners are at different places along the path, but still they need to follow those steps to continue to move forward. And, that's why we created a certification programs around that journey. One certification program that takes you on the first half of the journey, and the second one on the second half of the journey. So depending where you are, one or the other is going to fit and be most helpful for moving you forward. Dale, we talked a little bit about those. You want to talk about why it's so important for entrepreneurs and business owners to really take the time to do something focused and targeted at their needs and where they're going?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I found, that even businesses that are doing very well, that are successful, what they don't understand is the value of their business. That I know a number of businesses been around 40, 50 years, and the family passed from generation to generation. They're ready to sell their business, and they realize the value of the business is them. And because the CEOs have always been working in the business, not on their business. And what Andrew does, which I haven't seen any other programs do this, is allow people to kind of move from working in your business to working on your business. So what does that mean? Well, that means that when you're working in your business, you're basically an employee of your business, and the value of your business is you. When you're working on your business, you start looking at the business as you may never want to sell your business, but you want to think about, what's the value of my business? And the value of my business has to be more than me. And if you don't take this program, businesses almost naturally make that mistake. They say, we're making revenue. It's about being profitable, but it's really about being profitable in a certain way so that you create an independent business. And if you go through this program, you'll understand, and I almost guarantee that you'll have a light bulb on the top of your head saying, wow, I never thought about that. I never thought about thinking about my business that way. I thought it was all about revenue and expenses. Well, it's about much, much more. And that's why this is such a valuable program, even if you are an extraordinarily successful business, even in the pandemic.
What I want to do is just walk you through sort of what it is and how it works. The first program, the Small Business Pro certification, is a 3-month certification. So it goes in depth. You don't just learn a little bit about something, but you learn a lot about everything. So that can help you really increase your business knowledge, understand how to run your business more professionally and more successfully, and really learn the tools and get actual, not just hearing about it, but actual things that you can put to work within your business immediately. From our team, we have over 1,000 years of business experience. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That may just mean we're old, but definitely that's key. And the Masterpreneur certification is even more in depth, and that's a 12-month certification where you're specifically working on your strategic plan and your growth.
I want to add one thing. So I'm a big believer in what I call open book management, where you're the CEO of a company. You want to make sure that your leadership team, could be family members, could be others, knows what's going on. And so I think it's important to state that this isn't just for one person in the company. That if you have, especially a family business, and you have a next generation that you're prepping to be the leaders, you have a sales team, you have a chief operating officer, you have other people. This Masterpreneur program is for everybody. And so I encourage you, and you're never too early to take it, and you can take it again if you want to. But I think it's important that the company really have their key people go through this program. Don't you, Andrew? Don't you think it'll be of value to more than just one person in every business?
Yes, because, business owners, everybody needs to be on the same page. And the more your leadership team knows and understands, the better job they're going to do. The better they're going to understand what you need to do to make your business successful. And at the end of the day, it makes it easier for you as a business owner.
And Andrew, I say, I'm tired. I've seen just about all the Netflix shows I want to see, the Hulu shows and the Amazon Prime shows. So this can actually, when you're learning, it's actually done, because it's done in bit, it's very interesting. So it's not just like a course. You may not have even like college or high school or something. This is really, really interesting. And because you're working on your business, it really is something that you will find entertaining. And so, and much more valuable than a lot of the shows that you'll watch on the stream services. This is something you could apply immediately.
I think we left out one of the most important parts of the certification programs. You get coaching as part of the certification program. Right. So the Masterpreneur Playbook, you get monthly coaching. And in the SB Pro, you get weekly group coaching. So not only do you have this information, you're not doing it alone. You have a support network. You have, opportunity to learn more and make it work.
Yeah, I mean, that is really, really important, because and these are folks who are experts in their field, people who have a lot of experience dealing with just about every issue imaginable. And so that really, this asynchronous learning with coaching, live coaching, is such a powerful combination, because you can get your questions answered.
So Dale, we've talked a lot, about a lot of things, but really focused on, what do you need to learn and how do you learn it, and how do you learn it as quickly as possible so that it can benefit you? Anything you want to close out with for that you think will tie things up and people need to know?
Well, I think, we haven't talked as much about this learning quickly. And so really this program is really tied and aligns with your schedule. And so it's important for you to think about, how do I get the most valuable information as quickly as possible for me, not only to grow my business, but sometimes to save my business. So that's what this program is designed for you to get the most information possible as quickly as possible. So I know that you will love it. I hope you test it out. You can test it out for free, looking at some of the modules. And we're looking forward to seeing you.
Looking forward to seeing you participate. Thanks again, Dale. Always a pleasure to have you, and great to collaborate with you on this opportunity. And, Leadership Live at 8:05 every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.